recording also. So guys, uh, we have discussed about, like, we will go topic by topic. This course content I've already shared. So we have discussed about big IP. What is big IP? And what is, so big IP is nothing but it's an F5 component only. F5 was a company which we discussed. So now guys, we need to discuss about terminologies, initial setup, management interface, and licensing part. So this all topic we will be discussing starting from, let's say you have an F5 from scratch. You got an F5 LTM to be configured from scratch. How you can configure it. So we will start about deployments and setup. So next part which I want to discuss is, let's go one by one. So first step guys, how to set up F5 in a lab or in a virtual environment or in a hardware level. Let's discuss about that thing. So guys, when I talk about F5, F5 is a load balancer, and you know that load balancer we are deploying a client, which I will be repeating again later on also. Then we have an F5 incoming in between. Then we have 3 servers which we are taking: server 1, server 2, and server 3. So this is an ideal setup which I will be taking in all my lab. So I will have one external network, one internal network where all servers are part of. So these are on internal, and one is HA. But HA part I'm not looking now because we will cover HA part later on. And one network is management interface. So we will go step by step guys. First, we need to know like how to configure F5 management interface. So guys, in a real environment, F5 works in two. F5 has two dedicated interface. One is management interface and one is dedicated data interface. This is very important, you need to know. Even guys, this data interface got down, your management connectivity will be still there. So that's why F5 has two dedicated interface. One is management interface and one is data interface. So management interface guys, what are they used for? It are used for NTP, DNS, licensing. All these things will be done by management interface. And what are the things which are done by data interface? Is all about your data traffic. Let's say client is wants to access any URL and go to server. Like my main purpose of load balancer is guys, whoever is accessing load balancer, it should have proper load balancing between these two servers. Let's say I want 30% traffic here, 30% here, 30% here. All this traffic will go via data interface. So when I initially access F5 guys, maybe you have seen that thing. When I am initially accessing F5, when I log in through admin, so you will see network. Once you configure network, in that case, you will see interfaces, dedicated interfaces. So I will show you once I licenses. So dedicated interfaces, data interfaces are like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. These are generally you will see data interfaces. I will show you, but these are the naming convention of F5 interfaces. Like one is a slot number, and this 1, 2, 3 will be your port number, guys. So this is how you will get to know. And management interface you will see by MGMT. So in that case, this is how it looks like. I will go and you will get to know. And you can access F5 via GUI also and CLI also. Both the way you can access your F5 load balancer. So we will cover both the steps. And guys, what are the lab requirements you have? You need to have one F5 machine, which is an OVA, like in virtual edition. F5 can be deployed in virtual edition, hardware, or cloud. In all these three, you can deploy your F5. So I have shared you guys F5 image. Then you need to have red, green, blue server, and then you have one machine which is called your client machine. Either you can use your machine or you can have one XP or Windows 7, anyone. So these are the requirement. And the fourth requirement is you need to license the box. So guys, many people have questions like licensing part. So licensing without license F5 will not work. So you need an active license for everything. That is the main thing which you need to deploy. So when first of all, now let's go step by step how to configure management port. So let's go that way. So in that case, how you will go is, first I will show you the settings which I have taken in my virtual edition. So I have one F5 box. In my F5 box, one interface I have taken external. So all the labs I will be covering in my lab would be on virtual edition, VMware workstation. All my labs will be on virtual edition. So that is very important. VMware workstation. Second thing is, guys, F5 has a dedicated interfaces. I will be taking one interface as external, one interface as internal, one interface as HA, and one interface as management interface. And the same will be connected through VMware also. Let's say for external, I have Vimnet maybe 0, which is my Wi-Fi network. For HA, I will be taking Vimnet 1. For internal, I will be taking Vimnet 2. And for management, I will be allocating Vimnet 8. See, F5 has this dedicated interfaces, management 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. So the same interfaces will be allocated on your VMware also. So that is how you need to take care of your interfaces. So management interface is dedicated to Vimnet 8. So you can take that way. So your all F5 interfaces will be dedicated with one adapter, which is on VMware workstation. That I think everyone has done. So, but I have to repeat. So in that case that you need to take care, like I will show you, but this is what I will be talking about. So my all my laptop or my client machine will be in my Vimnet 0. So all my URLs which are configured on F5. So F5 has a dedicated two interfaces. So one traffic will be client to F5, which we were talking on that day, and one traffic will be F5 to server. So this is how you can allocate. In that case, how we need to take care. So now this is the topology I have taken. Now what I will do is I will go to my workstation and I will show you my topology. So guys, when I go here, I will do change settings. And in that case, you see, that's what I'm saying you. I have taken one interface, you can see, right? Vimnet 0. That will be my external interface. So guys, you have a client, you have an F5, then you have three servers, server 1, server 2, server 3. So your F5 is working as a full proxy. Full proxy means it's acting as a middleman. So one TCP three-way handshake will be done between client to F5. One TCP three-way handshake will be done from F5 to the server. So Vimnet 0 will be your external interface. Vimnet 1. So I have nothing done. In Vimnet 0, what I've done is I've just allocated to my Wi-Fi network. That's it. So you can see the names on your this one. On wireless, you can go to properties. You will see the Wi-Fi name here. And you just need to tag here. That's it. You need to make it bridge and tag to your Intel dual band wireless. Vimnet 1, now let's go to Vimnet 1. Vimnet 1 will be acting as your HA network, guys. For HA network, I have taken 10.1.1.0/24 network. I have just selected host only and keep the default settings. And the IP subnet, you need to give here 10.1.1.0 and subnet mask I have taken /24. Vimnet 2 will be our guys internal network. So I will go to internal and I will give IP 10.2.2.0 255.255.255.0. In that case, I have taken this subnet 10. This is all my internal networks. All my servers, guys, server 1, server 2, server 3 will be from this network 10.2.2.0/24. Now, guys, next thing is management network, the last interface which we are talking about. So I have taken this Vimnet 1, Vimnet 2 will be host only, but Vimnet 8 will be NAT. So that it can share my host IP with VMware. In that case, I have taken this network 192.168.137.0/24. So this is IP address schema which I have given on VMware. The same IP address schema I need to give you on F5 also. So we will configure that on our network settings of F5. These were the network settings of VMware. And we need to configure the same settings on F5 also. Okay, first thing you need to do this. The next thing, guys, once you do this, you need to go to F5, then right click. We have given the layer 3 IP address. Now we need to install OY image and we need to assign our subnets here. So I have taken first adapter as management, second adapter as automatic, third as Vimnet 2, Vimnet 3, the same thing. This is MGMT management network. This is my external network. Vimnet 2 would be my internal network and Vimnet 3 will be my HA network. Vimnet 3 or Vimnet 1, you can take any one, guys. There is no fixed agenda. So that's it you need to do. And the RAM you can give. For me, my PC is good. It has 500 GB SSD, and 32 GB RAM in my laptop, but I've given 4 GB and it's working fine. So it depends. It can work on 6 GB RAM also. Depends on your configuration, because LTM does not take much space. So this is the configuration which you need on F5. So first step, we have done network configuration on VMware. Second thing, we have done configuration on F5 OY image. We extracted it and we imported on our virtual workstation. So this is our VMware workstation 15. And we have given network adapters here. Whatever we have configured in our edit network settings, the same we need to give here. Now I will turn on. From here you can turn or power off. So whenever guys you are shutting down the lab, let's say today you're not doing it, so just suspend it, don't power off. You can suspend it, it will work. You don't need to power off. So I will start this, and this is how it looks like. So now my first step is, guys, we will go step by step. My first step is I want to configure my management IP address. How to configure management IP on F5 so that I can access from my laptop. And the IP address which I want to give on my F5 is from this subnet 192.168.137.0/24. So initially, whenever you are deploying F5, either on cloud or AWS on virtual machine, you will directly go to this console. You will see this console. So how to configure management IP? You need to type this command CONFIG. So this is the CLI of my F5, and it works on Linux operating system. So I will type the command CONFIG. So this is how you will get the utility to configure your IP address. Now, this is how you will get to in your, I think most of them have done the lab. So this is good for them. I will press OK. Then here it will give you either use automatic configuration or you need to give manually. So I want to give manually. I will click yes. So I clicked wrong. So generally you need to click no. I'm just typing again CONFIG. Generally you need to assign manually according to your IP schema. So first I will select OK. Then I will press tab and no. So here you will get. So let's say I've given IP address here as 231. I will press OK. Then my subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay. And then you want to give your default route. You can just straight yes. Nothing you need to change here. Management route. Yes. So this is how you can give your management IP. Once you click yes, you will get an access. So once I go here, I have given IP address, guys. What IP address I have given? 192.168.137.231. So I will go to my browser and I will access this. So I will go to my Google Chrome and I will type 192.136. So if it is open, guys, then you are very good. And if it's not opened, then you need to check one thing, whether your MAC address of your management interface of F5 is matching management interface of VMnet 8. This is very important. I have taught in my video which I uploaded, but this is very important. So what I'm saying is, guys, when you go to F5 Ltm settings, in that you will see VMnet 8. You need to check what is the MAC address here. My MAC address is BA5B. So this is my MAC address which I am saying it. 8A5B. The same it should be here. So how to see MAC address, guys? You need to go to TMSH. Then you need to type list net interface. So this is the command which you need to run. List net interface. So you will see the MAC address. See, guys, my management MAC address is matching the VMnet 8 MAC address. If it is not matching, then it will not work. So you need to check whatever interface MAC address of management on which VMnet it's coming. Maybe, guys, that VMnet maybe in second interface it's coming, then you can assign VMnet 8 here. So what I'm saying is, I've seen the management MAC address is 8A 5B here. So it can be maybe in this network adapter it MAC address is maybe here it's there. So you just need to click advanced. Maybe if let's say 8A 5B which was here, if it was not here, maybe it was on another adapter. You need to check that if it was here, let's say 8A 5B, then you need to just select here and select custom VMnet 8. And another one you can change it according to your external or internal. So what I was saying, guys, this is my interfaces 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. This is, can you see, these are the 4 interfaces which I was talking about. So this is very crucial, guys. Your MAC address should match with your network adapter of particular interface. Maybe first interface is management interface. If that network adapter has MAC address this, then it's fine. If it's not, then you can allocate another one. So I will go here, I will access HTTPS. So this, by this step, my first point is clear. I have configured management IP. So first point is done. Next step is, guys, licensing. We got an access. Now we need to activate features of our F5 Ltm. So for that, you need a license. Without license, F5 will not work. And for that, you need to first get a key. So how you can get the key? Let me show you. So generally F5 provides you 30 days license for free. So you need to just type, go to Google. Here you need to type F5 30 days license. So you need to go here, product trials. So F5 provides you 30 days license. It does not mean it is applicable for 30 days. So you will get 3 keys, which I will show you. And by 3 keys, you can use for 90 days. Then again, use another email ID and you will get a more license. So you can practice every feature free of cost. It's not like that some features you cannot test. You need to go to get the free trial. Here you will get your 30 days free trial started. You need to first register if you don't have an email ID. So this is how it looks like. So you need to type what is your purpose of this trial. So you will say currently evaluating ADC LB product. What is your job function? You can select any. What is trial you can, because I'm working on virtual edition, I will select Big IP Virtual Edition Big IQ. How many licenses you would like? 3 licensing. Then you need to enter H black letters 2. And then you need to click on request license key. So this is how this will work. So once you click request license, you will get a license key on your email ID, whichever you have registered. So this is how you will get it. You will get an email from F5 Networks. Here are your Big IP trial license. So you will get 3 keys. So what is the advantage of 3 keys, guys? Let me tell you. Let's say today I activated license on 5th of March. 1 key I used it. So what is the use of 2 key? So that license will get expired around 3rd of April. So guys, you need to take care your license before your license get expired. You need to use this 2 key. So your key can get activated for 90 days. 1 key 30 days. If you take care that let's say your license getting expired on 3rd April. So you need to remember on 2nd April, you need to reactivate your license. If you forget and your first license key got expired, then you cannot use these 2 keys. Very, very important step. Then you need to again register, or maybe if you are having good luck, you will get a license. So that's why whenever you license getting expired, before that you can use other key. So that's how you will use 90 days. Let's say I activated on 2nd April. Now next month it will get expired maybe on 1st of May. So you need to do license reactivation on 30th April or 31st. So I will show you how you can see the license date. But this is how it will work. So in that case, how generally it will have is this is how you will see. Okay, guys. Now let's go further. I got 1 key. I will take it from my email ID and I will show you how to license. So I will go here. You need to select next. Can you see? It's saying my license got expired. So what I have registered today, I registered by my new email ID. That's what I am saying was. If you registered on 21st Feb again, you can reactivate your license using another key. But if you forget, then you need to register with new email ID. You will get 3 new license key, which you can use. So I will say reactivate. Here you will get an option to reactivate your license. Here, guys, there will one base registration key which will be used. So base registration key method is the key which will help you to reactivate or activate your features of F5. So I will click on edit. I will cut this. And what I will do is I will go to my email ID. I will select 1 key. I will enter 1 key and I will say manual. So guys, there are 2 methods of activation. One is automatic and one is manual. Automatic means your F5 box should have internet connectivity. If it does not have internet connectivity, you will not able to use automatic, because in automatic it requires your internet connectivity. But in an organization, maybe your devices does not have internet connectivity. So I will select manual and I will select next. So guys, this is the dossier file. So what does dossier do? Dossier, guys, generally each F5 device has his own license key. You cannot use the same license key on any other device. Let's say your device is down. You wanted to use the same license key on another device because 30 days have not crossed. But that F5 device has several another serial number. Each F5 device has unique serial number. So license key is basically tagged to your serial number. Very, very important. So you cannot use the same license key on any other F5 device. So maybe someone is getting smarter. He wants to use the same license key on its another device. So how F5 will identify? So F5 will identify by using this dossier file. This is the way which he can identify that this is the unique method to identify. Dossier is something for security. Now I will click on this, click here to access licensing server, and I will activate my dossier file. I will copy, I will paste here, and I will select next. So dossier is basically to identify whether this key has been used previously or not. That's it all about your dossier. So this is for security. To identify the platform or a device, you can say, that's it. Then I will select, I have read and agree the license, and I will select next. I will get the license. So this is how you can get the license. Either you can copy paste or I can download also. There are two methods. I will see Control C and I will paste here. And I will select next. As simple as that, guys. It will take 1 or 2 minutes, but this is how you can activate the license. So we have covered 2 steps, guys, today till now. One is management IP configuration, and one is licensing, how to license the box. Now the third step, which is important, is resource provisioning. Very, very important step, guys. Many people does not know. This is asked in interview also. So you need to know how to get resource provisioning. What does resource provisioning mean? So let's give some time. It's taking some time. So the next step is provisioning, which you can see. So I will come. Now my license is activated, guys. You will see here, there is no, previously I was getting the device license is expired. Now I am not getting anything. Now guys, here comes your resource provisioning. So when I talk about resource provisioning, guys, you will see that there are 3 methods: nominal, dedicated, and minimum. What does it mean? First of all, guys, whenever you deploy any F5, okay, whenever you deploy F5 for any customer, you need to ask them whether they want to use LTM module, GTM also, DNS also, and they want to use any other feature like maybe WAF, or you can say ASM, Application Security Manager. Or there is one more module which is called APM module, Access Policy Manager. So whenever you deploy any F5 from customer, guys, very important point which you need to take care, you need to tell them which features they want, because for every feature you need a dedicated license. Let's say F5 customer says that I only want to use normal load balancer, then you need to ask your F5, you will call F5 sales team, hey, I want to use only F5 LTM. In that case, guys, they will give a license with only LTM module. So what I'm saying is, you will see here that in my license key, I have got LTM also, ASM also, GTM also, APM also. Can you see license? But in production, you will not see like this. Whatever license key you got, you purchase from sales team. In that case, let's say I purchased only LTM. So you will not see ASMS license, GTMS license. In this F5 box, I can use LTM also, ASM also, APM also, and many other features. So there are two things. First, licensing, and second thing is provisioning. License means depends on your module which you purchased. But provisioning, until you provision it, your feature will not work. Even you have a license, guys, but I do not select nominal here or dedicated here or minimum here, that will not work. This is very important. What is the difference between licensing and a provisioning? Licensing mean I can enable, I can use that feature. Simple. I can use LTM, GTM, and ASM on this box. Provisioning means I need to dedicatedly use some hard disk, some RAM. So what does provisioning means? I need to allocate memory. Let's say I want to use LTM. I need to allocate memory, hard disk, and CPU. So provisioning means which module you want to use. You have a license, but I don't want to use GTM and ASM now. Maybe in future I want to use. So that is provisioning. So there are three methods of provisioning: nominal, dedicated, and minimum. So what does it means? What is the meaning of nominal? What is the meaning of dedicated? And what is the meaning of minimum? Let's talk about dedicated. Let's say, guys, today I have provision LTM module as dedicated. But in future, maybe customer forgot to tell me that, hey, I wanted to use GTM and ASM. So if you provision LTM, you selected dedicated. So LTM will use all its F5 resources, all the hard disk, whatever is available, it will use all the memory. So if I select any module with dedicated, means LTM will block its all required resources, all hard disk, all RAM, and it will not allow to share with other modules. I cannot configure GTM and ASM in this F5 box. Dedicatedly means dedicatedly I am allocating all my spaces, all my resources to one module. So I will not able to use other modules in this big IP appliance. Very important, guys. In production, we never use dedicated. Maybe customer forgot to tell me that today he cannot use GTM or ASM, but in future it can come, right? So, but if you are confirmed that they want to use only LTM, then you can use dedicatedly. So all your resources, see here, all your CPU, hard disk, and memory will be allocated to LTM if I click dedicated. Can you see if I select dedicated, it's showing unallocated. All will be taken care. But let's say today I only have a customer which says I want to use LTM. But after 30 days, he want to use ASM also, WAF also, and GTM also. With LTM, I want to use other modules also on my same F5 box. So these are modules. LTM is one module, WAF is module, GTM is one module. And I want to use all this module on same F5 box. How I can use? So there are two methods. One, I can select nominal, and one, I can select minimum or minimal. What does nominal mean, guys? Nominal means if I select LTM, it will get least amount of resources required to run. So F5 will automatically assign least amount of resources required. Or I can say least amount of required resources. So that after all modules, your other modules, let's say GTM and ASM, can also be used. So nominal means if I launch LTM with bare minimum, I can increase the resource also here also, guys. Let's say today I have allocated 20 GB RAM for LTM, but in future I have a requirement I need to increase to 32 GB RAM. I can increase in nominal. I can use other module also, but I can increase for specific module also, guys. Today, let's say I've allocated LTM. I've used LTM with 4 GB RAM and 20 GB hard disk and 2 CPU. But my applications are getting increased and I'm getting slowness issues. So nominal will allow me to allocate more resources. I can increase my RAM to 8 GB RAM, 30 GB hard disk, and 4 CPU. So that is an advantage of nominal mode. So initially when you enable, it will get least amount of resources, and after that you can allocate it more space. This is all about nominal. You can allocate more space for particular module also, and you can use other modules also, GTM and ASM or APM. But what is difference between nominal versus minimal, or you can say minimum? So guys, let's say here I have allocated LTM, I've told you 4 GB RAM and 20 GB hard disk. Minimum also can, so minimum is it will also get the resources, let's say LTM 4 GB RAM it has got, and it has got 20 GB hard disk. But in this case, guys, once big IP allocate LTM 4 GB RAM and you want to get increase this space, you cannot increase in minimum. You can use other modules, GTM and ASM, but you cannot use or increase the resources. So minimum means it will get smallest amount of CPU, memory, and hard disk to operate. That's it. You cannot increase. Let's say my application is large, I'm facing slowness issue. I want to increase 8 GB RAM here. I cannot increase in minimum. So best practice in production is you should use nominal, guys. It will help you to allocate more spaces, depends on your application requirement. Very important, guys. So I will click next. I will allocate nominal. I will select next because this is the best practice. I don't want to use ASM or GTM now. I will click next and it will allocate. And this is device certificate, guys. You can use default certificate of F5. This is called self-signed certificate. So you can just use default settings. I will click next. And here you need to give your host name, guys, and time zone because your syslog works on time zone. If you are in India, your device is located in India, you need to select Indian location. And host name, you can give anyone. I will say bigip1.com. And my location is India. So I will select Asia, Calcutta. And I will, so from here, guys, you can change your root and admin password. By default, root password is, username is root and password is default. But you need to change it so that no one can get access. And admin username and password is default is admin. But I want to change it, so I can change it. I will select password is, I'm selecting one. For admin also I'm changing. And here guys, one more important steps comes into picture is, can anyone access my management IP? Can anyone, let's say I am sitting in my Airtel office. I want only Airtel office customers to access my F5 box. I don't want, in Airtel office also, I want IT department to access my F5. I don't want admin department to access my F5 because they don't have any role. So in that case, I can select that from which range I want to allow. Who can access this F5 management IP? This is to control your management subnets from which network you can access. I only want to access from subnet 10 dot something to something. But in lab, I can select all IP addresses. So I will select next. I will be getting logout because I'm changing password. So guys, this resource provisioning, no one will tell you. This is very important, guys. Even you will see many videos on YouTube, but they will not talk about resource provisioning. So that's why it was important to understand. So I will log in. And now I will get my module. You will see the difference. See guys, now it is giving me network configuration. Either you can configure from here or I want to configure manually. So I will click finish. So guys, this is how your F5 page looks like. You will see all the things. What is the date? Can you see it's 9:54 a.m. You will see user and role also. And you can see the IP address. And this is a standalone box. So from here, you can see, go to network interfaces. That's what I was talking about, right? 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. So this is how your network component configuration is. Now the next step is, guys, we have done whatever things. We have configured management IP. We have configured licensing. We have configured provisioning. We have configured device certificate default. Now the next step is we need to configure the network part. Very important. We have configured network part on VMware. The same thing we need to configure here on my F5. Network settings. How to configure VLAN, interfaces, self IPs, all will become here. So this was all. We have taken everything. So now I will go here and let's talk about network component. How to configure network on F5. So guys, when I talk about network, guys, in network, what we have taken, let's draw a topology. We have taken F5. We have taken one network as HA, one network as management, one network as external, and one interface as internal. So this one we have configured. So what I have taken? One as internal. Now guys, my external client, I will draw one external client. And this is my internal. So I will allocate 3 servers here: red, green, and blue. And my management network IP is subnet 192.168.137.0/24. This network is 10.2.2.0/24. That network is 192.168.1.0/24. It depends on your Wi-Fi network, guys. An HA network I'm taking as 10.1.1.0/24. So guys, in this case, what we need to do, we need to configure 3 VLANs because HA I'm not using right now. So we will use 2 VLANs only. Management is already configured. So our first thing is when we talk about network, we will configure interfaces. Then we will configure VLAN. Then we will configure layer 3 IP address of VLAN. So these are the 3 components which come into picture, guys. You need to first understand your topology. So in my case, my external network and an internal network are the 2 VLANs which I need to configure on F5. So I need 2 VLANs, one VLAN as external and one VLAN as internal. Because my internal network is on a separate subnet, my external VLAN or external client will be on a separate subnet. So my all servers will be on internal subnet and my external would be on a separate. And interface, what I will take 1.1 F5 interface as external, 1.2 I will take at internal. Depends on the MAC address. And 1.3 I will take as HA. So what I'm saying is I will take 1.1 as external network, 1.2 interface as internal, and 1.3 as HA. This is my PC. This is my F5, 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 as an HA. And one dedicated management. You cannot see management interface on GUI. You can see by running this command on CLI, list network interface. Now guys, we need to create IP addresses, right, in F5 and VLAN also. Without that, it will not work, right? Because 1.1 need to have some VLAN, right? I am allocating 1.1 in external VLAN and 1.2 in internal VLAN. So that is how you can configure. Like what is VLAN and what is interface? I hope everyone knows. So this is how it is configured. So let me jump. So you will have one IP address of all interfaces that is called self IP in F5. Self IP is nothing but SVI in Cisco switch or a layer 3 IP address of the VLAN. You have VLAN and you have interface. So first you need to create interfaces. Depends on, we have talked about like how many interfaces we need. Then you will create VLAN and VLAN will be tagged to particular interface. Then you will create one layer 3 IP address, which will allocate to the VLAN. So we will create 2 VLANs, 2 self IPs. Self IP is nothing, guys, but a layer 3 IP address of a VLAN. So this is very important, guys. Your interface is tagged to VLAN and VLAN is tagged to self IP. This is how it flows. First, you need to configure interface. Then you need to create a VLAN. And then you need to create a self IP. So self IP is nothing but an IP address associated with the VLAN. So when I talk about F5, guys, let's say server 1, server 2, server 3. And let's say there is a layer 2 switch coming into picture. in between. So your server gateway, what would be the server gateway, guys? The server gateway will be internal self IP only, guys. Because F5 and servers will be never directly connected. So there are two connectivities. Either your F5 will be connected to layer 2 switch. Then there will be three servers, server 1, server 2, server 3. So your gateway, you will configure three VLANs here. Let's say, sorry, not three VLANs. You will need only one VLAN because your internal network is on 10.2.2.0 network. So I will create one VLAN, let's say 10. So my gateway will be from this IP. This is my gateway. Let's say this interface IP I'm giving 10.2.50. I've created one self IP with this IP. So my server gateway will be, for this server, my gateway will be this, for this also, and this also. This is when server gateway is F5, but in many cases, you will have a connectivity, let's say client, then a firewall, then an F5, sorry, then a layer 3 switch, then F5, then you will have layer 3 switch again, then you have server 1, server 2, and server 3. In that case, guys, your server gateway will be this. But in that case also, you will have two interfaces, right? One is internal and one is external. In that case also, you require two interfaces. So self IP is nothing but a directly connected interface IP address. So in that case, you will create two self IPs in that case also. But that will not be this IP address. Maybe this server network is on separate network, not an issue. So you will create one self IP for internal network and one IP for external. But in that case, your server gateway is not this IP. So this is how, guys, the topology is. And sometimes connectivity, you have client, you have firewall, then you have layer 2 switch, then you have F5, then you have layer 2 switch. Mostly this is the network in production. Then you have server 1, server 2, server 3. So in that case, one network is external. So one IP, let's say I've given on firewall 192.168.1.60. One IP I will give here, 192.168 from the same network. And let's say this is my internal segment. So I will give 10.2.2.50. So all my server will be pointed to this F5. So this is how, guys, your F5 looks like. So my next role is I will first configure VLANs. I will go to network, VLANs. I will configure two VLANs. One is external EXT. Tagging you, it's up to you. You can select my external VLAN is on 20. Then can you see here, interface. So you are seeing tagged and untagged. What does it mean, guys? Tagged means trunk. Let's say your servers, let's say I have F5, then I have layer 2 switch. Then I have three server, server 1, server 2, server 3. This server is on VLAN 10. This server is on VLAN 20. This server is on VLAN 30. So in that case, guys, my interface is one only. This is 1.1 and this is, let's say, 0/2. So you need to allow all these VLANs on 1.1. How you can allow? Because your applications are on, your servers are on separate subnet. In that case, you need to create tagged interface. So you can allow multiple VLANs on one interface. But in our topology, guys, we are using only one VLAN. So if you want to allow one VLAN on a particular interface, because in our topology, guys, we are using client and an F5, then we have three servers, server 1, server 2, server 3. So I'm using one VLAN 10 here. For external, I'm using 20. And my network is 10.2.2.0 network. Here I'm using 192.168.1.0 network. So in my case, I will allocate untagged, means access port. That's it. So can you see? I was drawing that your interface will be called in your VLAN. Now you will create one internal also. INT. I will select internal on 10. 1.2 untagged. Rest settings you can ignore, not needed. Even in production also it's not required. So you can see, guys, I have configured two VLANs. So as per my topology, I have one PC and F5, then a layer 2 switch, then a server 1, server 2, server 3. So we have divided F5 in two networks. One is front end, which is on separate network, and one is back end. This one is 1.1 interface. This is one is 1.2. This one is VLAN 20. This one is VLAN 10. Now what I need to get, I need to create layer 3 IP address for both. So this is how you can check. Now you need to go to self IP, guys. Network self IP. Here you need to create two layer 3 IP addresses, one for external network, one is for internal network. The same thing which I configured here on Edwit virtual network editor. Same thing we need to configure there. Layer 3 IP. So I will go create network self IPs. I will go to create and I will give external self. An IP address, my external network is in which network, guys? 192.168.1.50, let's say. Net mask, what is the net mask? 255, 255, 255.0. And port lockdown, I will say defaults. Port lockdown, I will come later on. Port lockdown means on this VLAN, which ports are allowed. Like someone wants to access F5 through this IP address, they can access through 443, 22. Which port are accessible from this? So port lockdown is nothing but it says if someone wants to access my F5 using layer 3 IP address, on which port he can access. Now I will finish. I'm just creating a layer 3 VLAN, or sorry, layer 3 IP for a particular VLAN. Then I will create one more internal self. IP address 10.10.2.50. Netmask 255, 255, 255.0. And I will allocate my VLAN to internal. And I will say allow default. So this is how, guys, it looks like. So I've created two layer 3 VLANs also. So what we have done so far is We have created interfaces. Interface is assigned to VLANs. VLAN is assigned to self IP. You need to remember these three terms. Interfaces, VLANs, and self IP. Simple layer 3 routing switching we have done. Once we discuss HA, guys, you will come to know about this traffic group. I'm not talking about this traffic group now because this is a part of HA network. When we deploy HA active passive, then I will explain this what is traffic group. So as of now, you just consider self IP and IP addresses. That's it. So we have created self IP. So whenever, guys, I will show you one green server, how to configure it. So whenever you configure green server or red server or blue server, what is your IP address and what would be the gateway? So I will show you one server how to configure. So I will log in into my red server. I turned on this. I will go here on red line, click on inside, then click on red. It will take some time. So how to configure IP address on my red, green, blue server? You need to turn on that server. OVA image I have already shared, and you need to assign IP address. Let me go, guys. Here, you need to click on red icon. Username is root, password is root. I will click OK. Then you need to give here ETH0, Ethernet 0. Click on this, and here you can assign. So IP address I'm giving 10.2.2.30 here, and what would be the gateway? Gateway will be my self IP 10.2.2.50. I will click activate static. So this is how you can assign IP address on your red, green, blue server. You don't need to do anything. I will show you again. Once you see this, I will close this. So your server will be turned on like this. So you need to click on red icon. Then you need to log in username root, password is root, okay. Then you need to go to Ethernet 0. And this is how you can assign IP address. And gateway is internal self IP. I will click activate static. And then you need to shut down to take effect, reboot, so that it can take the IP address. The same way you can configure red and blue also. And my laptop is already on my Wi-Fi network, so I don't need to configure anything on that. My laptop has already an IP address. I will show you. I will go to command prompt ipconfig. You will see I have already have my IP address assigned from Vimnet 0. So I don't need to configure anything on my client machine. But if you are taking any OVA machine like XP or something, in that case, you can select and make it Vimnet 0. So this is how my network interfaces self IP. And guys, there is one route coming into picture, in which case we need to configure this route, static route. So guys, let's say my F5 is connected to my layer 3 switch. Then my servers are connected. Let's say this network is 10.3.0 network. This network is 10.2.2.0, maybe 30, 31, and 32. So in which case your routing is required when your servers are not directly connected via F5. F5 has no direct connectivity. In that case, your static routing is done. So F5 to reach this server, what would be the routing? So routing will be your next hop will be your internal self IP. Let's say internal self IP is 10.3.3.50. So what you need to do, you need to add your destination will be, I will say route. So your destination will be 10.2.30, or you can say, and net mask is, or you can say zero network. Net mask is 255.255.255.0. And what would be the gateway, guys? Gateway will be this IP, because your servers are not directly connected, right? It is connecting via layer 3. So in that case, your routing is required. We do not have connectivity directly to the server. But in our case, we have a connectivity. So we don't require any route.